Well, míle buchas as an fóilse sin, an gedal sias is mílam an hain is san ma bhean céile fircin fóilse ar a ród Ileag. Agus sibh se taca ó baile le céile ó cean na tíre. May I say, as I have just said, and I welcome you all our to Áras and Uachtaráin, and we're so pleased that you have all been able to be with us just before Christmas, travelling as you have from all parts of the country. With people here from Down and Dublin and Galway and Kerry, Mayo, Monaghan, Tipperary and Wexford. You're also very welcome. We have some very special visitors, and with Sabina and I we were so pleased to meet you all. It is something that reminds us, if you like, of those early years that the President says, well, we have many of these occasions, and of course we're really resuming them after COVID, which knocked out a great deal of the programme on which we were able to welcome people from all over the country. Among the very people we've met already is Mrs. Mellory O'Brien is here celebrating her 100th anniversary. And she's an example to us all, that's all I have to say now. Both in... There she is. In terms of fitness and glamour. But I hope that you all enjoyed the afternoon, and that there were so many as well. I want to thank those friends of yours who may have accompanied you. Now, another special guest is, of course, Retired Captain Thomas Gunn, who is the son of Colonel Thomas Gunn, who 100 years ago, on the 14th, just a couple of days ago, took over this building here, which would from then on never be known again as the Viceregal Lodge, although I have to remind people occasionally that it is now, and it would be since 1938, Áras and Uachtaráin. But 100 years ago, the Free State troops marched in here, and the tricolour was raised, and I'm so pleased that Captain Gunn and other members of the Gunn family are able to be with us this afternoon. It was described in the Irish Independent as a symbolic end to alien rule, and it was described in the Irish Times as bringing to an end a glorious chapter in Irish history. So you can work it all out yourselves as to what that tells us. I think that occasions like these, as I have said, we're so pleased to be resuming again after the COVID experience. And I think this one is very interesting, because I think it is tomorrow we'll be celebrating the winter solstice. And we're all governed by light and the way as we celebrate the ending of the darkness and the promise of spring. So I think at Christmas time as well, in my Christmas message, which will go out, I think, on Friday, I mention always the Irish who are abroad. And particularly, Christmas is also a time when people will be remembered, those they may have lost and who are no longer with them. But they will recalling Christmas as spent together. And I think, and as well as that, we are all reminded, I hope, of the importance of having a reflection on people who are experiencing difficulties at Christmas time. I think I have mentioned COVID already. I think it was great that people got through it. And you know, what was wonderful is that we had science in the service of the people, and we had earlier on somebody here a few weeks ago, we were giving a award, who was involved in the development of the vaccines that came to the assistance of us all. Vaccines that are important, not only important for us, but important all over the world. And so our scientific community, that was we owe a debt to, but also to the wonderful healthcare community. We had a reception here in Áras and Uachtaráin for all of the trade unions representing the different frontline services, and how wonderful they were during the period of COVID. COVID also reminded us about how connected we all are, how interdependent we all are, and I think that was a very good reminder. Here in Áras and Uachtaráin during the year as well, we regularly, you will notice, different images celebrating, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals, and also reminding us of the importance of responding to what is asked of us in terms of climate change. I cannot, as President would say, how necessary it is to realise that as we're here now, there are people in Africa who are experiencing the worst of our burning planet. Pasture land that has been turned into this desert. And in the Horn of Africa, you will have noticed the speeches I've made recently about famine is threatening about 51 million people. Well, severe hunger, it is in some areas actually famine itself. So at Christmas time, we are reminded about how responsibilities we have in the world. Now, when I have said that as well, when people come to these occasions that we have in the afternoon, it's to celebrate your own efforts. I know, looking around the room, how many of you are looking out for other people, and you will have made contributions in your own community. So this is our way of saying thank you for that work, and we know it will continue. I think as well there are problems, I think, that we should remind ourselves at Christmas time, very particularly. The Birmingham family are here, and may I wish them, ask them. Mary wasn't well enough to be here. Mary is the partner of Willie Birmingham, a close friend of my own, and I was associated with the loan from a long time ago. But I'm so pleased that members of the family are here, and Alone, of course, is addressing an issue that is important to everybody. The issue then we must all, I think, remind ourselves of the biggest issue facing us at the present time is homelessness and housing, and how important it is that 100 years on from the founding of our state, that we meet this need. It is critical, and I wish everybody involved in that effort success. I think as well that in relation to so many other areas, I sometimes mention these because I know that even though we are at a distance from each other throughout the year, I know that these are all issues that you yourselves are concerned with. I think that, for example, we are all concerned, and we experience it and discuss it in our different ways, about how tragic it is that our continent is once again at war. And I think it's very, very important for us to realise that war is not the natural condition of the human species. All of our best efforts in everything we've tried to do have been about peace building. There are about 64 areas of conflict around the world. And it is the best of our armed forces is when they are in fact involved in the tasks of peacekeeping. I think that tomorrow I will attend the funeral of Private Sean Rooney, who has a family that is associated with peacekeeping, his uncles and his father. And I also will go on, I have been in touch also with the family of Shane Carney, who is so injured. And they were involved in the tasks of peace building. And all of us as well, in thinking about peace, it is not the natural condition of any human being anywhere in the world to have an instinct for war. And it is a great tragedy that the resources of the world, both intellectual and practical, are deflected into the tasks of war and the threatening of war, when in fact we so desperately need to address issues of global poverty, issues of hunger, issues of sustainability and changing the world and the way that we live. But I say that, but knowing that sometimes people, it isn't leaders or presidents or politicians who speak like this. I know that this is what is in the hearts of most people in this country at this time, which is a time of peace, celebrating peace and problems, because we celebrate, if you like, a family that had to flee themselves for safety, and it is of course so good that we are able to open our doors here in Ireland to all those who have come to us from wherever they've come, and we can say to them, if you have fled conflict, if you are a migrant, you are welcome in Ireland, which is a country that itself is a migrant country in a way. In 1900, more than half the people born on the island lived outside the island. And it is wonderful, and as President of Ireland, I'm so pleased that the hearts and doors of Ireland are being opened to people who are in need. Finally, I just want to say that it is so important that the different diversity that's represented in the group here, from cities and villages and rural areas, and people of all ages. Sometimes once said about that Ireland is the best country. But I said it would, in a fit, they would say Ireland must be the best country to do business in. I prefer myself to say the aim is really Ireland is the best country to be a young person in, or the best country in which to grow old in, or a best country to be vulnerable in. That's really what I think is the best badge of our Irishness. And I'm so pleased that there are so many of you here, and so many of you as well, who are caring for other people, and that we're all able, if you like, to, as one would say in God, declare knock the best of our days together in as we go on. And this afternoon, for your entertainment, we have the Cathy Nugent and her accompanist Shay Brett. And we have the civil defence volunteers, so if any of you feel a twitch coming on, don't hesitate to let us know. And I also want to take the occasion of saying to his family, Joan, who was here a long time ago, who has passed away, who was here for several occasions in many years in the past. So the days are going to lengthen now from now on. It's, as I said, the solstice tomorrow, and spring is coming, and it will be a time of resilience and regrowth and renewal, and in the meantime we will enjoy ourselves. So Arish Mila Buikas as Akshika or Salutron, Chalk, Uachtaráin here and Uachtaráin. And isn't it here we are now 100 years after we said goodbye to all the viceregal pretensions and welcomed the end, as I said, of one era, and took on all the challenges of the other. And what better people to be present than your good selves. Bergach Manach, this Mila Buikas.